So that's a huge improvement. I'm actually a little bit shocked, to be honest. What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be installing the high boost signal booster, and I'm excited for the results. A lot of the places that I go camping, I get no reception or one really weak bar, so it's pretty unusable, and sometimes it'd be nice to go out to the woods and just get some work done and chill out there, where right now I have nothing. So let's get into today's video. So the main benefits of a signal booster, from what I can tell, is it's not going to give you signal where you don't have any at all. It may be if you have one weak bar or you're just out of the zone to no bars, you might be able to get 1 or 2 bars back. But for the benefits are being able to make calls if there's an emergency off-road, deliver text to loved ones to tell them that you're safe if you're camping for a couple nights. Another benefit would be maybe you get some increased data rates, so you could stream Netflix in your tent or something like that. For me, it would be mostly being able to work out in the woods. You know, I could edit some photos, upload it to the client, edit some videos, maybe even upload the video to a client, and it just gives me a little bit more freedom, as well as the peace of mind of being able to contact loved ones, just telling them that I'm safe if I'm camping for a few days, or if there's an emergency. Obviously, I would still suggest carrying like a Garmin InReach, but for those camping areas that are close to my house that I'm just outside of the cell range, or have like one really weak bar and the texts sometimes get through and sometimes don't get through, this is perfect. So we're gonna install it today, and then after we install it, we're just gonna go out to one of those areas that I usually go camping or go mountain biking, where you just don't have quite enough service to send a text, but it'd be nice to let people know that you're okay. So let's get into today's video. Pretty easy install. I might just do a quick install right off the bat, make sure everything's working and that I like the placement of everything before I go and hide every single wire. And I'll show you some of the other stuff that showed up. I have new suspension showing up. Rock sliders are almost done. I just got to get them powder coated, or maybe use Raptor liner. Haven't decided on that yet. All right, so this is what we're going to be installing today. This is from a company called High Boost. If you look on the back here, so we have the booster itself. This is the main unit. I'm going to be installing it on the back of my drawer system. This is to get power. This is the antenna that goes on your roof. It is magnetic. It should work for me on the back, even once I have the rooftop tent on. If not, we'll figure out that solution when the time comes. And then this is the patch antenna. So this is what needs to be close to the driver's seat or wherever you want your phone. And all of these attach to the main unit. So should be easy to attach this to my drawer system. If you don't have a drawer system, maybe under the seat would be best. And you want to try to keep these two units as far away from each other as possible. So this is at the very front of the vehicle, and this is at the back of the vehicle on the roof. So let's get going. Should be pretty easy just to get it set up initially. We can hide the wires later once I know that it's working and I have it in the position that I want. All right, so I don't think they gave any hardware. All right, so let's find some screws that will go into the back of the drawer system. I try to label everything. Doesn't need to be too long, maybe 1 inch. If you guys are ever looking for a bag to carry your tools in for off-roading, and you could even put recovery gear in here, this thing is amazing. I just got it for, I'm always helping people like build shit around the house or helping fix things for the Black House Cinema. So it's got tons of pockets. You could always have like more recovery gear in here, and then it's got a whole nother section with more storage. And I don't know, I just find that it's a great solution. It's super easy to carry too, because it's just a really heavy duty backpack. And yeah, so it's from Milwaukee. You can find them on sale usually, and that would be my suggestion. I've definitely fallen in love with it. It's nice that it's soft. It's not a hard case, so it's not bouncing around and making noise, and it integrates into the Milwaukee pack-out system. So if you have other storage in your vehicle, you can always like attach it to more Milwaukee pack-out things. But let's get on to the install. It's USB into just this thing that they gave you. So we're gonna try an old Apple one, and then I'll obviously get a smaller one, which is upstairs. And I just took the little cover off so that it fits. Sorry, it's hard to film and do this. So now it's literally just power from the back of the drawer system right to there. And I can still like just unplug this, run my fridge while I'm driving, and then once I get to the camp spot, I could, well, I'll probably power the high boost off the Blue Yeti, but just to, if I'm driving, I'll just power it off here, and I can always have the fridge running off the Blue Yeti. So there's lots of different options. All right, so for now, I'm just running the front unit. Kind of just hit it up under here. Helps if you have plastic trim removal tools. I might in the future, like if I'm happy with this, I'll run it like actually through the console and then out like right in here. Kind of how I did the light switch panel or the throttle controller. And then yeah, it's just running back behind the seat, under this panel. And now I'm just removing this trim panel here. I removed like kind of the step plate, and we'll just hide it all up under the plastics, and then it'll go right to the unit. All right, so I have all the wires connected. Obviously I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, but the outdoor wires going to the back, right now I just have it following the weather stripping, and then that is the antenna right there. Just a nice little magnetic guy. I'm gonna have to play with the positioning, obviously. It's right under the roof rack, so even if the rooftop tent just comes over that back bar, it should work, but we'll have to play around with where I need to position it for signal strength. Hid the front wire all under here, reinstalled all the plastics. Definitely suggest having plastic trim removal tools if you don't already. I can link some below on Amazon. Yeah, so we have power and everything. I'm just downloading the app right now. It's on the App Store as well as on Google Play, and it seems to have just downloaded. It's called Signal Supervisor. All right, we're heading out to test out the signal booster to areas that usually have low to limited reception and no reception. Usually places I go off-roading, camping, biking that are in the mountains or just starting to go into the mountains, called the foothills here in Alberta. So I'm excited to test it out. It looks like there's a big rainstorm where I'm going, so that should be fun, and I'll catch up with you when I'm there. So we have 1 bar of service here. It's usually a place that I go biking, but there is service. So let's do a speed test, and then we'll connect the high boost. So this is just the cell phone on its own, no signal booster. Ping was 106, and download was 4.22. 1 to 2 to 4, and it was at 5 just a second ago. So that seems like an improvement so far. So if we go back and run the speed test again, wow, so using just the first speed test link, now we're at 77 megabits a second, and it's giving me upload. It wasn't giving me upload before. So we got 78 megabytes per second download, 7 to 8 megabytes per second upload. Before I wasn't getting any upload, and my download was like 4 to 5, 6 max. So that's a huge improvement. I'm actually a little bit shocked, to be honest, and we're still holding steady at 4 out of 5 bars. Your internet connection is very fast, it says. So great first test. Again, I'm just out past Bragg Creek where I live, so quite a bit out of the city. Usually have 1 bar of service, and a lot of people go mountain biking out here. So let's keep going, try and push it. I might go where I usually off-road, and then we'll go to a mountain bike spot where I know I get 0 service and everyone complains about it. So let's get out there. All right, so we're here. This is called Ing's Mine. It's famous for no one ever having cell reception, which is kind of dangerous because everyone mountain bikes, downhill mountain bikes out here, and people get hurt quite often, and then no one can call for help. So obviously some people have like a Garmin InReach, but sometimes it's not super serious, but you'd still like to call for help and you can't. So right now it's showing that I have 0 bars. It was like 1 bar extended coverage, but that never holds, and now it's at 0 bars. So I can't really do a speed test with 0 bars. So we'll just turn on the booster. So I just press the AC converter here. Usually I'll probably run it off like the Blue Yeti as well. Also, I mounted the unit right here with just some 3M double-sided tape. So usually I have my throttle controller here. Highly recommend this guy. This is from an Australian company. And then I have my switch panel here for my lights. You can still open this guy up. I just keep like some Advil, Tylenol, chapstick in there, and then I can still use the cigarette lighter port, but it's still mounted there, so it's close to the phone, which is what's needed. And yeah, the other unit is still back there, all hidden away. You'd never know it's there, which is kind of ideal. And then I'll show you the antenna on the roof, maybe if the rain dies down, but I think we're gonna go with there anyways. So okay, so not much, maybe enough to send a text. I was hoping for a little bit better of a result, but I did not get that. So I can try parking in a slightly different location. Sometimes, obviously, depending on where you're parked, the cell phone booster may not be able to get any connection. So I'll just try moving like 20 feet, 50 feet to a different parking spot, and we'll test again. Okay, so I moved a couple 100 feet away, a little bit closer to the road. Still kind of in that same parking lot. Let's try the speed test again. The app says that 45 dB gain uplink and 50 dB gain downlink. So let's go to the speed test, run the speed test quickly here. So pretty good gain. Looks like 16, 17 megabytes per second download, and before just a couple 100 feet that way, which is like right at the base of a big mountain, which obviously affects the performance. We were getting like 0.5, I think. I'll obviously show it on screen. So 0.5 upload, that's not great, but it's usable. But 17 download is pretty good. So obviously the highlight of the signal boosters is to, you know, take 1 or 2 bars and give you 4 or 5 bars. Can't create service, it can't create signals if you're way out there. So at the base where there's no service, it was barely getting it. It was getting a little bit, but I don't even think you could really send a text. I moved a couple 100 feet up, which I guess in the case of an emergency, you could drive down this road a couple 100 feet instead of kilometers and kilometers or miles, try to get service. So you could probably get emergency response out here sooner. So a couple 100 feet down the road, and we got 17.5 megabytes a second download and like 0.5 megabytes per second upload. So definitely an improvement. Here I'd still probably not get service on my phone regularly. I wouldn't be able to do anything. So definitely an improvement. I knew this location was going to be the hardest test, at least for places I go in my area, but we can try 1 or 2 more and I'll let you guys know how it goes. Also, I did just send a text as a test at the same spot I just was, and it went through immediately. So that's kind of nice. Moving around a little bit just to send out a text or something if you were camping, just to let a loved one know that you're safe or you arrived or everything's going okay, I think is worth it. Because before in this location, I wouldn't have been able to send anything, and even miles and miles closer to the cell tower, I still wouldn't have been able to send a text. I think we're talking like 10, 15 miles at least I'd have to travel to send a text reliably. So being this much farther out where I'm always out here, I think it's a definite bonus. Obviously these things aren't perfect, and it's not a massive antenna sticking up on the back of my vehicle. It's pretty short. It looks like some stock factory antennas for radios on some vehicles, so that's a bonus. Obviously I don't have to worry about height because it's the exact same height as my roof rack, where some of these bigger antennas you need like to put it on like a ram mount so you can fold it down to fit in your garage, where this thing still fits in my garage. So that would be kind of a WeBoost situation where you have like the bigger antenna. I know some people will mount it on their front bumper to avoid that height problem. But yeah, just thought I would share my thoughts, trying to be super transparent in this video. I don't want to like say that this thing's going to do something that it won't. I was hoping for a little bit better gains right at the base of the mountain, but obviously just can't create signal out of nowhere since the mountain was blocking it. But I think from a safety standpoint, being able to get service a lot farther out, and maybe you just have to drive a few hundred feet or like a kilometer versus a huge distance to get service is definitely a bonus. All right, another location. This is McLean Creek, kind of like the general camping store before you go out onto the trails or into the campground. Usually you do not have service here. Maybe you could send a text. I think a newer cell tower went up closer by, and yeah, but usually, okay, it says sorry, it looks like the internet speed test, like it's not gonna work. I don't have enough cell reception. I can't even load the page here. No, so let's turn on the cell phone booster and see if it helps out. Okay, so usually get nothing here. This is where it's like the kind of gray area. Like if you have nothing, you're not going to get a ton back, but if you have like one not great bar of service, then you get a big improvement. But 2 megabytes per second, not bad. That's probably enough to send a text, depending on what this upload's going to be. Yeah, so let's see. Okay, now I'm deeper into McLean Creek, the off-road area. So I'm actually farther away from the cell tower. So it all depends kind of on your location. I don't know if trees affect it, but there's a lot of trees around. Obviously I'm in the forest in the mountains. Upload speed, not great, but download speed was 6.4 megabytes per second. And yeah, so let's keep going and see what happens. All right, guys, so I tested out a couple other spots. A little hit and miss, but very impressed with the results so far. I definitely can get cell reception out here, and I never could before. So whether that is watching Netflix in the tent or just trying to tell someone that I'm safe or where I'm camping, it's doing the trick. So I'll keep you updated. I'm going on a camping trip soon, and I'll go into it in more detail, and we'll see if where I'm camping I have cell reception.